The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good evening and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your host, Randy Rodney, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board, send us an email. Our email address is yourhomeyourmoney101@gmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your host of Your Home, Your Money, Randy Rodney.
I don't know how to put it on mute. Hey, y'all. Welcome.
Thank you, Randy. Happy to be back.
And so, yes, I guess I kind of missed it because we were talking. So this is Thomas Ephraim. He's a lawyer.
Well, no, my name is Leon Ephraim.
Oh, sorry, Leon.
I'm a lawyer
the firm
and the
is
principal
Thomas.
at Thomas Ephraim. That is correct.
Yeah, so I'm working on my English, and that's the way that's going down, actually.
That's okay. We'll get right into it, right? Because there's a funny story behind that. My partner, Dave Thomas, started the law firm here in Oshawa. He was working for a guy who had been here for about 20 years, and then that guy passed away, and Dave was sort of thrust into taking over his practice. And honestly, when you're managing a small firm in a city like this at that time, all you're really doing is real estate and wills and estates. And Dave became very, very good at real estate. And I have a corporate finance background. I work in the areas of corporate securities. I work with several exempt market dealers. I help raise funds for developers and tech companies and a lot of corporate commercial work. That was my primary experience. And when I went out on my own, I was getting asked by a lot of my clients if I could help with residential transactions, which I discovered very quickly are actually very technical and very complex. And you need to have the expertise to do it properly, or you're likely to get sued. And in fact, more lawyers get sued. If any of you follow, fallen lawyer news in the newspapers, right now there's 3 active cases in Ontario of lawyers that have bilked their clients on real estate deals to the tunes of millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so I wanted to do it right. I ended up meeting David Thomas. And Dave was a very, very good corporate lawyer, a pillar of the community. And when I said I wanted to name the firm Thomas, ampersand Ephraim Lawyers, his suggestion was, how about Thomas, Ephraim? At the time, he was the senior lawyer. I deferred to him, although my head told me this was not the smart thing to do. And I'm going to be honest, I get called Mr. Thomas Ephraim literally at least once or twice a week. Nobody looks at the comma. And in fact, punctuation is disappearing. As more and more people communicate by text, by every other means, punctuation is a forgotten art, which means everybody thinks I'm Thomas. Ephraim,
yeah.
Which, again, Tom versus Leon, I'm not sure which name is better, but my name is, in fact, Leon.
Well, it's Tom for this show.
It's Tom for this show. So, I think Randy loves this because I hijack it a little bit. So today, apparently Randy is on a hiatus from drinking alcohol, but I am not. So I thought, I was unaware, I brought like a taster sample. We have rum from Guyana, rum from Guatemala, and rum from Nova Scotia. Going to do a little taste testing and let the people know what we think about these various rums. Just to let you know. And we'll talk about real estate and a bunch of other stuff.
So even if I was drinking, I can't drink rum.
Because?
So I can drink tequila and I can drink gin,
Vodka, probably.
And vodka.
So you're only clear liquid,
and only good
no brown
quality
liquid.
vodka.
Well,
Because the low quality vodka has too much sugar, or the ones with.
I'm
fizz,
too
whatever.
old to drink low quality stuff. These are all high end, top shelf bottles. So we're going to start off with Guyana. Cheers, the El Dorado 15.
So, couple things happening. We are about
Nice.
to lose almost 8,000. You chugged that back?
It was just a little shot.
little
It was just a
shot.
little
You'd
shot.
be
Look
wasted.
at that. You were going to ask a question. Continue with your question.
We're about to, I think it's about 8,600 jobs we're losing in just a few days with the closure of the bay. Where a few car companies are have already laid people off. We are with this car wars thing. You can call it tariff wars, but right now it's kind of car wars. We're not really feeling much on the tariff side. But the car manufacturers are certainly concerned. So we're going to be losing a bunch of jobs there. We have more than double the inventory in real estate that we had last year. And we have about 20%, 20 to 25% less sales. So some people are in a really, really bad situation because they had to renew their mortgage, and their mortgage has gone from $4,000 a month to $6,000.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm going to stop you right there
Okay.
for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, you're going to a dark place. I was
just-
hoping to avoid.
I'm just
I was hoping to
going-
avoid. I don't. And listen. I think that there are challenges. We're dealing with challenges right now. But I mean, let's start with the premise that someone who has a $4,000 mortgage, a $4,000 mortgage at 6.1% carries a total mortgage amount of $600,000. So depending on when you bought your house, you might be subject to that 6.1 because you went variable a few years ago. You probably took it perhaps at a time, but again, that time is now 2 or 3 years past. So you're coming to the end of your misery if you're at that number. Right now, people are getting mortgages between 4 and 4.5%, which I'm going to be honest with you, as good as things are going to get for the near future. And I think if we roll tape back to our last episode, we had this same discussion. And at best, what you can anticipate is, somewhere between 3 and 4, depending on your credit score and everything else. That's the other thing, folks out there, pay attention to your credit score. It's important. It will affect a lot of long-term things for you. Kids are getting credit cards just for filling out an application. Stay-at-home moms who are getting, maybe that's one directly to my wife, getting credit cards. You don't necessarily need to use them if they're going to affect your credit score. But if you have a $600,000 mortgage at let's say 4.2%, you're now carrying that mortgage for about $2,500 a month. If you have $200,000 in equity, guess what?
So hold on, for what numbers?
$2,500 a month.
For how much of a mortgage?
$600,000.
I think it's a lot
$600,000
higher
at
than that.
4.5. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I
but
can
go
tell
on.
you. I can
We'll
tell
get-
you
we'll-
factually that I have a mortgage. Well, I just did a mortgage that is $600,000 at 6.1%, and it's carrying at $3,800 a month.
At 600,000.
At 600,000.
Okay.
Right. So at 600,000 at 4%, you're probably carrying at about 2,000 to 2,200.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yes, feel free. But I think
600,000.
600,000 at 4.2%,
Okay.
30-year amortization.
See, they're recommending 5.
Of course, they're recommending 5. Well, but
At 4.2, let's do this. And they're asking down payment. So see,
down
this
payment is, let's say, 20%. Again, so these are all factors that work. Like if we're going to do a mortgage calculator right now, I can tell you, if you have great credit, good income, T4s that you can provide, and you want to take a mortgage for $600,000, and you get it from somewhere between 4.2 to 4.5%, you can expect to pay somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500 a year. Add to that your property taxes, depending on where you live, that would likely work out to about an additional $500 a month, right? So your overall carry costs should come to about $3,000. $3,200, again, depending on where you live. And the whole point of where I was going with all of this was those are very difficult propositions in all places that begin with the names Toronto,
Yeah.
Markham, Scarborough, Richmond Hill. But have a look at Oshawa, Clarington, Brooklyn. Actually, Brooklyn's expensive, but you can still find deals there. But what I'm saying is, people look east. I've been saying that for 10 or 12 years, and I think that's happening. So I'm going to say that I'm busy. There is activity here.
We are busy.
I know you're busy.
But life is hard. It's 587,808. So that's what so approximately 590 is 3156. So that's what I'm. So that's
Yeah,
at 600,000.
yeah.
So, and that's 587. So
At what interest rate?
the 4.2.
Really?
And so
See, I'm not going to bother doing that. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, no,
I think it would be
it's
less because otherwise, let's put it this way: I just did a mortgage that was 6.1%, 3-year, amortized over 30 years, and they're paying $3,800 a month.
Yeah, so there might be more to that.
See
'cause
that I see already like 25-year amortization.
Yeah.
Here, give me this.
What amortization are you doing?
Let's use 30. Why
Oh,
not?
well-
For those young people, am I talking to old people or young people? If you're old, I mean, and let's face it, amortization is bogus anyway.
I think it
because
means something.
it depends. The days of people like the idea you're going to burn your mortgage in the fire. God, that was on Archie Bunker when I was a kid. Nobody does that anymore. But part of the problem is that people actually borrow money against their properties. Now those are the ones who are getting in trouble, right?
So it's still 3540.
What do you mean 35? 3,000. So it's higher
At
than it was
30
before.
years. No.
Well, before you said it was 3,000. Now you're saying
No,
it's
37, wasn't it?
No, it couldn't be 37. At 6.1%, I'm paying. I mean, yeah,
30 years,
you're
so
not doing this right.
25.
This is where Jackie is helpful. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
think.
3796.
No, but you're doing something's not right
That's
there.
a 25-year amortization.
Something's not right.
30-year amortization.
No, it's still not right,
Still
though.
over $3,500.
Still too high.
I think you said
I
3,600
think this
Yeah,
is.
it's 3540 with
No.
$3,540 with a 30-year am. And with a 25-year am, it's almost $3,800. It's 37. And
Sorry,
change.
$600,000 at 4.2% interest. It can't.
I
It's
did
not right.
5,800.
So hold on a second.
587,000.
I'm gonna.
So
do
here's the
myself, 'cause
thing.
I don't
Here's the
think-
thing.
I don't
I'm
think
going to
that's right.
continue on with what I was saying. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at a period of time where it's very, very difficult for the sellers in order to get out of the real estate game. It is a big, big, big issue. Now, in terms of buyers, this is a good time. You see, if sellers are having it hard, buyers are, in a sense, having it better, right? They have more choice. So it really depends which side of the coin you're looking at. But for sellers right now,
So let's. So I've got it.
for
So-
sellers right now, it's a tough time.
So at 600,000, 5-year closed at 4.64%, 30 years amortization. Your monthly payments will be $33,000.74. Okay, so
Let me see what you got there.
look at it's right
Let me-
there, at
let me look at-
4.64, and I'm telling you that people
Yeah.
are doing better than 4.64 right now on closed
Yeah, yeah,
mortgages.
yeah.
Right? So there's your TD mortgage
No.
calculator right there.
So this is 547,000.
No, that's what's left to
yeah,
pay
but-
when you're done. You start off at 600,000. When you calculate what you paid in principal and
Amortization.
everything else, it's 547,000 that you owe, right? But at the end of the day, $600,000 mortgage at 4.6% for 30-year amortization, 60 months carries for $3,074 a month. Now, property taxes will likely be another 500, so you'll need 3,500 plus all your other costs. But like I said, again, there are opportunities where you'll get a lower interest rate. You just shop around, find a good mortgage broker. I believe Randy works with a mortgage broker. That could help.
Again.
Yeah.
So, 6.1. When did that change?
Yeah. Do me a favor. Ignore the realtor.ca website. They're of no use. Be gone, realtor.ca.
4,
Okay.
4.2.
So we
Yo,
tried this
yo.
one first.
Hey,
Hello?
sweetheart, you there? 3156.
I'm here.
Yeah, hi, Jackie.
3156.
Hi,
That
Leon.
was a mistake.
Good to hear
Hey,
from you.
babes, we're just arguing here, so good to
Yeah,
talk
I
to
know.
you.
That's why I thought I'd interject before. There's some punches getting thrown here.
Yeah.
We don't.
Are
we're
you
grown
getting
men.
any emails yet?
We's
Yes,
grown.
I got quite a few emails.
Oh, wow.
You're
That's
breaking
why
up.
Mike put me through now.
Okay.
So we'll start. We got about 9 or 10.
Okay.
Whoa.
So we got one from Dave.
Hi, Dave.
And hey, Dave. Who does Randy want to win the Stanley Cup?
What?
Oilers.
Oh, definitely Oilers.
Yeah.
My
Ooh,
wife's
we're
family's from
losing
Edmonton. Best friend lives
And
in
they're doing
Edmonton.
good. And
Go
they
Oilers.
are kicking butt out there. They're kicking butt.
Are they? And McDavid deserves a
Yeah,
cup.
they are.
So go Oilers.
So then, and oh my goodness, how did I come out of it? Oh, here we are. And Bob's a regular emailer. Bob, hi. Bob says, hey, real estate for Randy. Oh my gosh, it's the condo market, and it's holy cow, this is ridiculous. There is an insane amount of lock boxes on this one condo. Holy, I got to honestly say, I have shown some condos in downtown Toronto where there is a lot of lock boxes, but this has got to be like 50, 60 lock boxes.
Yeah, the lockbox, the condo market downtown is
Horrible
definitely-
in Toronto.
definitely a very
Yeah.
Wait a little
challenging-
while. The good deals are coming.
It's a challenging
Listen,
market.
bad markets.
Yeah.
But
I'd
listen,
say,
people.
yeah.
Bad
If you want to
markets.
buy a condo, hold off a little bit. You know, you might get a deal out there. I would say that,
Exactly.
yeah.
Bad markets presents opportunities for people with cash. And
Yeah.
that's the way this market works. The reason things are going south is because the market got out of kilter. But the only way to get it back into kilter is to match people that need homes with homes that are for sale. And
Yeah.
and in this country, people build equity on their real estate purchases. Builders are still facing a very tough situation, but there's going to be a glut of resale condos, coming on the market, especially as rents also start to drop because there's a
Yeah.
rent war going on too. So literally, this is, I think this is not a negative thing. This is what had to happen because things were way out of whack.
Well, you think about it, Leon, like all these people that are selling their condos or their houses, if they ever get sold, they got to go somewhere. A lot of them are going into rental market,
Exactly.
going to drive rent up.
So for those people who are like, gee, I'm paying so much rent, I could own a house, they're now thinking to themselves, well, wait a second. Paying rent is not so bad right now, and I don't have to own a house, and I don't have to
Yeah.
pay condominium fees. I don't have to pay anything else. Like condo owners many of them are losing money, especially those with multiple condos. Those that used it as investment, guess what? That investment is not panning out. Just like when Donald Trump, introduced tariffs and everybody was calling their brokers and their financial advisors because their money was sort of disappearing almost momentarily. It's a little bit different with the real estate market, but guess what? You people, you're also losing your money. And the difference is you still have to make a payment every month to a bank that owns that property for most people. So be careful. Be careful when
Yeah.
you invest in real estate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having a stare down with my daughter's cat right now that's knocking everything over because he wants a treat.
but God love that
So if
cat.
you hear any noise in the background, it's him knocking everything off
So I'm
everywhere.
about to try the Guatemala. Yeah,
Okay, while you try
Guatemala.
the Guatemala, I'll read
Cheers.
some emails. Lee says, hey to real estate. Some more high rises being built in TO. What about the rest of the country?
Well,
What about
I
it?
mean, listen, I've been across the whole country driving. I went to school in Calgary, met my wife in Edmonton. I'm not sure there's a need for any high rises in Red Deer or Moose Jaw, or if I'm not.
Or Newfoundland.
I'm sorry to tell you, those people in Winnipeg. So people build. Believe it or not, I have a client that's building high rises. He's the one building the high rises right outside the building we're sitting here right here today, and the risk versus reward versus the stress that it causes him, honestly, doesn't make any sense to me. I love him. His name's Hans Jane.
Yes, but
It's
Leon,
yeah.
they aren't they this building that's going up there near the office, they have to rent for 10 years, do they?
Well, so no, they decided that those. Well, I think they're going to be renting in perpetuity. Those buildings were already set up as purpose-built rental, right?
Uh-huh.
So there's no time limit as to how long they have to rent. They're already just rental.
They're
Yeah.
rental, but they're not allowed to sell until.
Well, they would have to go
they're
through,
after
so,
10.
so in order to sell, they'd have to go
go
through
and
the
make the
process.
process.
They'd have to convert every unit to a condominium. That's a long, drawn-out, expensive process. So
Yeah,
their intention was never to build condominiums. They wanted to build rental units. Like this guy, first of all, he's an engineer by background. I think he truly just loves building buildings. That's his joy. That's his joy because the stress and the amount of work that goes into it. I think he probably would have done just as well without getting engaged in
Yeah.
this whole process.
Right
Right.
now,
And I mean,
yes.
but and if he does fulfill his dream, which I hope he does, Oshawa is going to turn into a beautiful city with like 10, 12-story, 14-story buildings, pretty much all surrounding or all within the downtown core, which all will bring their own necessity for restaurants and all around the Tribute Center, which will become a hub of activity. Like that's what communities need. People like that. They need forward thinkers that also think that way and want to do those kinds of things. And at the same time,
Sorry, I'm going to mute myself.
and they've also experienced tough times. Part of, I mean, I know that a lot of condominium buildings have switched to purpose-built rental in the last couple of years, just because it's easier to get funding. The government's going to help finance you if you do purpose-built rental. But I think, or at least the deals that I've worked on where there's this transition from condo to purpose-built, there's challenges. Challenges all over the place between investors that thought it was going to be condominiums, expected a return right away, whereas purpose-built is long-term investment. You want to own an apartment building, your return is smaller year over year, but it's there over time. An apartment building like the ones, believe it or not, the building we're sitting here right now is more than 50 years old.
Yeah.
And we've had our issues. I'm not going to say it's a perfect building, but I'd say it's a pretty good building for 50 years old, right? Like you don't build for something that's disposable. You build for longevity. And so I think, Oshawa and again, Atria and all these people are moving in the right direction. And I also think that an investment in a condominium in Oshawa is not a bad idea right now as well. Because,
Okay, I'm back, guys. I'll do a couple of emails, but my
Okay.
dog, you know how they say poodles are territorial? Well, she seems to think nobody's allowed to walk outside on the sidewalk either, so I apologize for that.
did you know I used
She
to own a
owns the
poodle?
sidewalk.
I could take your dog and make that dog the perfect poodle.
Into a what? You could make it into a what?
My poodle's name was Brutus. He was a
Brutus?
wonderful dog. Brutus. Yeah, he was like a
Yeah.
mini, not a toy, but a mini. So like about
Okay.
8 pounds. I was terrible. I didn't get him haircuts often enough because I thought he looked cool with the longer hair. But in the summertime, it would be hard for him. And then,
Well, we have a little toy. We have a mini and a standard. So,
Okay.
yeah.
those standards are tough dogs.
So we got an email from Tom, and Tom says, your partner is Dave Thomas of Wendy's? Ha.
Yes, he actually, believe it or not, funny story. He named his daughter Wendy. He is that removed from culture, like our popular culture, that he named his daughter Wendy. Even when I mentioned, because, oh my God, it's hard to describe this guy. He would be like a professor to most people. And I remember the first time I met him, he says, Leon, I'm going to tell you something most people don't know about me. I have a great sense of humor. And he said it to me exactly that way. And at one point, it didn't even dawn on me right away, but eventually I realized, Dave Thomas, and he had a daughter named Wendy. He goes, yes, Leon, we were aware of the fact that but we never ate Wendy's, so it didn't bother us.
Okay.
That sounds like something I'd say, hey, guys, you know what? I have a good sense of humor. I
got
think
an
I'm
email
funny.
from-
Hey, listen.
Oh, sorry. We got an email from Tina, and Tina is like, where's Jackie? We need some class on the show. Tina, I wasn't feeling so great today, and I was supposed to be off the show, but somehow I'm reading emails. So there we go.
So wait,
I'm
no,
sure-
I
Did
would
she
like to. I would
say-
like to know. So what she thinks? She thinks there's not enough class because
No,
are
she
we
didn't say
class A?
She didn't say class. She said crass.
Oh, crass. No, I
Oh,
think she
no,
said
she
class.
didn't. She said class.
Well,
Thank you,
I
Randy.
think. Well then,
Actually,
I
if
think
you-
I'm going to test the Nova Scotia rum on her behalf.
Okay, you try that. Randy, if you come home and your key is not working, you know why.
No, Randy hasn't drank anything. He has not touched anything.
No. He said crap instead of class.
No, I didn't say crap.
Well,
I
listen.
did
said
you say then?
crass. Crass.
I think she's entitled to her own opinions.
Yeah.
I enjoy my time with you, Jackie, and I think
Thank you,
certainly
Leon.
you would add class to us two rogues.
Well,
so
you
to
would at
speak.
least keep
but,
up.
But nonetheless, I think we are being very gentlemanly in general.
Yes. And Tina, no.
Oh, do you? Well, he may not know Tina, but I thought now would be a good time to repeat. Pierre Poilievre,
Leon-
you must resign. You must resign.
Okay, so Leon, I hope you have a good sense of humor, because Irene says, "Hey, it's Jerry Lewis."
I know, I got that the last time. I want to know, young Jerry Lewis or old Jerry Lewis? I'm guessing old Jerry Lewis. I mean, how about middle Jerry Lewis? Like, 40s to 50s Jerry Lewis. I don't take that as an insult. I love Jerry Lewis.
Well, Jerry Lewis was big, man. So there you go.
I'd
for a
rather be
long
Dean
time.
Martin, but Jerry Lewis I'll take.
Dean Martin was cool.
When
He
we
was
did this
the
the last
coolest.
time.
He was the coolest.
Amore.
Okay, you two.
Canadian rum, going down.
Jim has a new idea for the show, and Jim says, "Hey, Randy, do a booze show. You can get booze donated for reviewing on the show. You may also get cheese to go with it. Think about it."
I thought about it.
No thanks.
I don't think any companies would see us as penetrating a large enough market to make it worthwhile for them to
You
even give
never
us
know.
one bottle.
You never
That's-
know.
Last week, somebody, when Randy went to the Realtor Quest, he got noticed by some guys like, "Hey, I know you. Where'd I know you from?" And then he's like, "I watch your show." And he's like, "You need to reach out and try to get some sponsors for the clothing you're wearing."
From Boss. From Boss, yeah. So you had the 3 rums.
I
what
think
did you think?
my favorite actually is the El Dorado.
Eldorado Guyanese rum.
Although that one's pretty good.
Which one?
I'll tell you the worst one is the Canadian.
The
So I
Canadian one is
think
the
I
worst
think
one?
Eastern Canadians get confused
Barbados.
between rum and whiskey.
Mount
So-
Gay is supposed to be really good.
Mount Gay
eh?
from Barbados is a very high quality rum. I
Yeah,
just
it's supposed to
didn't.
be a good rum.
But nobody's given me any Mount Gay in the last little while. But I'll say like the Canadian version actually tastes like whiskey. I think and then I noticed in the stores recently, like Screech is considered a rum, but Screech is actually moonshine,
It's
right?
I don't
So,
think I've ever tried Screech, but
It's
I have
bath
had
water.
moonshine.
yeah.
And before you drink the moonshine, they would put it in the spoon and they would light it on fire to show you how powerful it was.
that
So-
is Screech.
Yeah, yeah. So I think in the Maritimes, the difference between whiskey and rum is blurred. I think it's this is closer to whiskey. This is fantastic rum. This is the next fantastic rum.
Okay, so now we got one from Mike, and Mike says, "Hey to Randy and guest. The guest is Leon. Leon's a lawyer. They're near us where our office is. He's a lawyer in the same building." And he says, "Are you giving samples of booze? I'll be there, and I will bring the caviar."
Yeah, no, unfortunately, my staff, none of them watch these podcasts. I'm pretty sure I would get unfavorable commentary if they did, but this is my thing. I do this for fun, not for marketing. So there we go.
Okay. And Tim says, "Let's talk booze. No one can afford a home anyways."
I love this guy. Yes. Well, but I'm not sure. That all depends. You know, booze is not a substitute for being home deprived, right? If you're spending money on booze and then complaining that you don't have the home you love, then you need to check your priorities. That's
Okay.
all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
And no insult meant to you, my friend, because if booze is the priority, I'm all for that too, right? That's whatever makes you happy. I am an uber libertarian.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And Pam
I
says
think-
it's all shit.
Who?
Hi to Randy, Pam. Hi to Randy, hi to Jackie, my new home. And Pam, I like your new home. It's it's in the woods. It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's a very modern little home. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. It could use a few more windows, but
It's a bunkie.
no, it's not a bunkie. It's cool. I like it. It's just a square, but it's dark in color, and one side is complete like glass, which is cool. So I think it's cool. Brian says lock boxes. I went to look at a condo in Toronto, and there were over 40 lock boxes on the property. It was nuts.
There were more than 40 what?
Lock boxes.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, for sure. Listen, everyone's trying to get out. Everyone, I mean, between the difficulties with renters, the falling rental market, and the number of people that bought these little 600 square foot condos as investments. Because really, there's the other thing, people. Sorry, somebody has to say it. Sometimes an investment is actually a money laundering scheme. And so all these people that had money coming from lots of places that may not have been legal money were buying into all the developers' little condos, tiny condos. Nobody cared. And at the time, people were renting anyway. And so now the house of cards is falling in on itself. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some unusual stuff that starts happening soon when a lot of people who were investing money into condominiums that were not necessarily using that money or that money was necessarily legal money, and there's going to be trouble.
What kind of
That's
trouble? Like, what do you
like
think?
like people who are not going to get returns on money that was not legitimate money that went into these
Yeah,
projects.
but if they were just laundering it, do they really care if they lost some of it? Do they
Well,
have
of course,
enough that
because
they don't
they
care?
so even launderers don't want to lose all their money. The idea is one of the best ways to launder money is using a casino, right? You figure you take your money in, you cash it in for chips. You lose 20%, 30% to the chips. But then you take your chips, you cash them back out. Guess what? Your money's clean. Condos,
I'll keep that in mind if I ever have enough money.
I don't think it's the same.
Because I think condos on a larger scale, if you have millions of dollars that you want to get out of country, and also it doesn't mean that the money was obtained by illegal means, but it's not necessarily legal to get the money out of the country or whatever issues arise. If you have a few $1 million and you want to park it and you want to get it out and clean it, you send it to a developer say in a country like Canada. You buy a bunch of terrible, shitty little condominiums. You own them as a non-resident, and then of course things start to get crazy when the government starts introducing
15%.
new rules. But those rules have only started about the last 4 or 5 years, like post-COVID. So there's a lot of irons in the fire, shall we say, in our real estate market that's making it unbalanced and uneven. And I think perhaps this works for some
Interesting.
buyers in the future, because I think there'll be a lot of people that are going to be willing to sell at even lower than what they're selling now.
Yeah, well, it's not even that they're going to be interested; they're going to be forced
They're gonna have
into.
to.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna be
just,
forced.
interestingly enough, I got this ad for an apartment in this building. So just, anybody, I don't think there's probably anybody that's on this feed that lives in this building, but you know that I've been looking for a condo in this building, and I got this ad. There's one of the two-story larger ones
$299.
for $299, and I talked to someone, maybe it was you, I don't know, but they said, "Oh yeah, it's the real estate agent. They want to get a bidding war going on." Guess what? There's no bidding war, right?
They
It's
sold it.
conditionally
It's
sold.
conditionally sold.
For how much?
We don't know. It's
It's
conditionally
conditional
sold,
right now.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
But I think there would have been a bidding war at $399. Honestly, $399. That's in today's market. That's incredibly
exactly-
awesome.
so,
it's
yeah.
a two-story
Yeah, absolutely.
condo,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
which
it's
means
almost 1,300 square feet, that condo.
Oh, it's a beautiful condo.
yeah,
Like
it
I
has
said,
a loft
but
on
that's where I
upstairs.
figured it would sell at around $399.
I'm going to give you an idea, but first, I've been dying to tell you how I am so far on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to the problems with the real estate marketplace and and investors and foreign investors. I believe that it is such a small portion of the marketplace that it never, ever, even at its peak, ever exceeded 5% of our total sales.
Even in downtown Toronto?
Even downtown, you're talking about in the condos. Well,
'Cause-
first of all, you
Well, 'cause I'll
there
tell
are-
you,
in
like,
certain
even-
condo
even-
buildings, if you take that building, yes, but if you take our marketplace, no.
Because even today, I will tell you, this is an interesting story for people to know. So we had a sale, we had a property where we were acting for the seller. And then literally today, the day of closing, the lawyer for the buyer disclosed, "Oh, they're non-resident."
Who the buyer?
Yeah, just disclosed that they're non-resident. So all that stuff creates huge
Yeah.
complications.
Oh, yes.
Huge complications.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, maybe that's something else. People, non-residents, you need to disclose to your lawyer or your real estate agent, because it does make a difference.
Yeah, the earlier you disclose it, the more you find out the difference that it
Yeah,
makes.
it's not insignificant. It's a lot.
Yeah, and it's more on the legal side. The problem,
And your lawyers will
but-
not let you close, because we get held responsible if we let you slide on.
Well, everyone
There's
gets
no
held
sliding.
responsible. The buyer, the seller.
No, the
any-
lawyers,
any-
our law society and the law says, if we don't withhold the money that's necessary, we
could be-
have to pay it. So that's it. We're where the buck stops on non-residents.
So there has been cases where the owner who I can't remember the case now, to be honest with you. So I guess I shouldn't open
Oh no,
up
but
the
there's
can of
not. No,
worms.
it just happens. It happens
But
every
the
day.
clients are actually also involved and could be held liable. The government is not letting anybody off the hook in that
No.
situation.
No.
They're getting their money, and that's it.
There are a lot of non-residents that bought condominiums
So-
during COVID.
My-
And-
yeah. So my belief on being on the opposite side of it, and I believe this is, let's say if we're going to say that investors were part of the problem, I have one thing I would like to say about that is that the statistics that they use for investors is problematic at best. So when they say that investors went up 20%, And then, and they're saying that's what's ruining the marketplace. Isn't it interesting that the number of co-signers, parents that are co-signing for kids, is up? And that is the 20% of investors that they're talking about that's ruining the marketplace. So it's really not a foreign investor problem or even an investor problem. The real problem, and our government is great at this and everybody buys into it, but the real problem is when you throw interest rates of 0.25% overnight rate, you create a frenzy in any marketplace. So you created a frenzy. This is what they did. I'll tell you, sincerely speaking, my point of view, and I believe this is 95% of the problem, not the investors. The low interest rate, forcing people to stay home. They're not allowed to go to work. The wife's not allowed to go to work. The husband's not allowed to go to work. They're both working from home. Problem number one. Because before they got a break from each other. Now they don't got a break from each other. Problem number two, kids can't go to school. So now one parent's on the phone trying to do business. The other parent's on the phone trying to do business. Kids are running around like kids do, causing havoc in the house. And the parents are going nuts. We need a bigger home to suit the actual new environment that we're stuck with. And, oh, hold on. By the way, interest rates are so flippin' low that you could sell your smaller home that's not convenient for your COVID lifestyle anymore, and you could buy a bigger home and pay the same amount, and in some cases even less than you were paying before with your old mortgage. This is a motivation that you're causing in the market for transactions to go to an all-time high. For example, go back 5 years, next year, 121,000 transactions. 121,000 transactions. Why? Because the interest rate, it was practically free. And so you cannot go and put these kind of fiscal monetary policies in place and not expect the public to alter their lives. But there's more. Wait, what did the Bank of Canada General say to the world when he put the interest rates at pretty much zero? He said, hey guys, go out and spend money. I'm going to be keeping the rates low for a long time. Which was a lie. He didn't know it was a lie at the time, but it turned out to be a lie because then he jumped out of like a boogeyman and said, aha, and started jacking up the rates and crucifying everybody who went and did this. Now the thing is that's what I believe crashed the market. Not necessarily crashed the market today. That those events of yesterday is what crashed the market today. Had nothing to do with the Arabians buying a whole floor of condos. It had next to nothing to do with that. We were overbuilding properties, but we were also overhyping the marketplace, making it so affordable that people got hysterical about being able to get these low mortgage rates. And that's what I believe destroyed our marketplace. Now I want to move on to a completely different story. I want to tell you something about...
Hey, hold on.
Oh.
Let me read some emails because they're piling up, please, okay?
I want to tell you something about two-story properties here. Run this by you.
Ray says, it's so good to hear Jackie's voice. What is REITs? R-E-I-T-S.
REITS. Oh, REITs. Oh, they're REITs.
Like a REIT, so a real estate investment trust. So that's where you invest money and you own units in a company that invests in real estate. Again, there are some very good ones. There are publicly traded ones. If you own mutual funds, some of your mutual funds will own REITs. There are private REITs, public REITs. I think for the purpose of this show, if you want to talk about REITs, I'm not sure that Randy deals with any specifically, but they are an investment vehicle, a lot like a mutual fund, and I'm not going to proclaim the benefits or the negatives about those.
So that's a lawyer's opinion. On our side, we were an absolute hard no with REITs. We were a hard no. They came into our office and were offering us like an 8% commission on any clients that we brought to them and all that. It's like, no, thank you. It's a little too advanced for us. I believe that you either have to have a financial advisor or your lawyers.
Sorry, so let me
discuss
jump back
that
in
stuff.
then. I was gonna let it go, but yeah. So my background is corporate finance. A REIT is a security. It's an investment. You need to be advised by a registered securities dealer. If your mortgage broker or your real estate agent is talking to you about a REIT or something like
boy.
that, I would not. Again,
I wouldn't do
if
it.
some of my clients see this, they're not going to like this.
Yeah,
but
then
I'm
don't
going to
say
tell
it.
you. But I'm going to tell you, you can call me about any of the REITs my clients run, and I'm going to tell you that there are a lot of bad REITs out there. And the idea is, listen, developers need money. Some of them turn to real estate investment trusts. Some of them turn to people to raise money for them. At the end of the day, they're not they're qualified. You need to speak to someone who has a license that they can lose if they put you in the wrong investment. That's all. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
If you are on a fixed income, then a REIT is not for you.
Not for you.
If you are someone who has an inheritance of $300,000 or
Tons of
$400,000, but you're working a minimum wage job or you're on a fixed income, again, these are REITs are typically high risk investments. Returns can be large. Over the last 20 years, I think there are enough. Listen, I'm a victim. Listen, all I can say is be careful. Speak to a professional if you're going to look at a REIT.
I'm going to agree. And one of the things that
tough
Leon
question.
just said.
Tough question for me to answer.
That one of the things that Leon just said that really resonated with me, because I'm not going to name the company that came in, but stuff happened. They were offering us incredible money to have our clients go into these products. Now, we are not in any way educated on this kind of stuff. And the education that we would get would be how amazing that REIT is, not on the market as a whole. So one of the things that he said that I think is amazing is if your realtor or your mortgage agent talks to you about REITs, it's for the commission.
Exactly.
Okay?
They have
Stay
no
away
business,
from it.
They have no business talking to you about that. But again,
Right.
I'm not going to
Even though they
presuppose
can.
the relationship you have with them. So like
Right.
a lot of people
But be
make
careful.
money. So for example, right now, listen, if you don't mind me jumping in briefly, I do a lot of work for people who do private mortgage lending. Right? Private mortgage lending is an interesting way to earn money if you have free cash and earn a good return. And generally, it involves a mortgage broker and a lawyer or two. And basically, what happens is this is part of the problem we're seeing in the market today, just so you know, is that a lot of people took out their equity in their homes. But mortgage brokers and private lenders will look for, say, if you've heard the expression, a second mortgage or a third mortgage. So you may have bought your house for $400,000 15 years ago. Now your house is worth $900,000 or $1 million. And you've got this excess capital that you can use, and a mortgage broker might be able to help you with that. And you'll find someone who's willing to lend you that money privately, willing to stand behind the bank or the institutional lender, and you'll pay a higher interest rate than is typical. But and those also track interest rates. So honestly, 2 years ago they were at like 14%. Now they're at 12%, 10%. Always though at high interest rates, and a lot of people extracted equity from their homes during COVID because everybody wanted a pool, everyone wanted
That
to
too.
renovate their
Either they
kitchens.
renovated
and,
or-
and at the
or
time,
bought and sold.
and at the time, interest rates were 2.2, and private lenders though were lending at 7 or 8%. But now there are a lot of people who have a private lender that they owe $120,000 or $150,000 to, and probably don't enjoy their pool as much as they used to, right? But they're paying that guy 10%,
work.
and now they're paying their bank on their variable mortgage 6.5%.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, and it's challenging. And I don't. It's not my place to tell somebody they did something wrong, or but you just gotta ride it out, and that's the world we live in. Don't kick yourself about it. Yeah.
Sweetheart, how
Okay,
many
guys,
more
let me read
emails
this.
you got?
Let me read. Yeah, they're
'Cause-
piling.
because I want to, okay, go ahead, but then rush through those if you can.
Holy cow, there's a lot of emails.
I want to hear them. Let's do them.
Okay,
Let's
let's
do
do
them. Let's
it.
do it. We're not leaving. We're not leaving till we do the emails.
Okay, so listen, do me a favor and just let me read them, and then you guys talk about them after, okay?
Okay.
You're taking too long, man.
Okay,
And
Dave says-
you can skip any that are insulting.
Okay, perfect. Dave, I'm hoping that Alberta leaves Canada. Yeah, they are worth billions of dollars, and the libtards are taking all of their money to finance the rest of Canada. I hope that they will leave.
Yeah, good for you, Alberta. Wait till all the people from Montana come up and literally do nasty things to you.
Yeah, Andrew says, yo, to the real estate show. The market's still in the toilet, correct? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll agree with
Right.
that.
I can see the booze is working. Polyev re-signed. Wow.
Did he? Absolutely, yes. He needs to. Or did that guy say he did resign?
And then John says, hey, your team, and he's got a picture of drunk real estate.
What? What? Read that one
There are
again.
4 realtors and they're drinking, and the name of the team is Drunk Real Estate.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's the new real estate. Okay, go ahead.
Cheers to you.
Olivia, hey, folks, love the booze aspect tonight. It is very interesting, better than real estate talk. Let's talk about food as well.
Yes, yes, I wanted to bring
Dale.
pizza. I wanted to bring pizza. Yes.
Says, hey to you all. Like the drinks, funny stuff. Jerry Lewis in his later years for sure. Now this is entertainment tonight. We love it. 5 of us listening to you in Mississauga. Thank you, Gail. Jerry
Nice.
says, listening again. Hey, what about that global warming, right? We are freezing our asses off here in the TO over the past few years. The coldest May in over 75 years.
I gotta talk
Sorry,
about
I
my
will
dog
tell you what,
is
no,
big and
listen,
outside.
global warming may be a thing, but I'm not worried about it. What else can I tell you?
But Jack, you have to. Jackie, hold on. This is important.
Really?
The reason why it's been cold,
No, do not go there, Randy.
they have suspended the carbon tax, Jack. Let me explain to you. Not only that, they're going
Oh
to.
my God, that's hilarious!
They're going to remove it.
No, it's just been cold because it's cold. It's just been bad weather.
It's not an
Oh
old
my
joke.
God. I
This
don't
is
think the
real.
weather's a conspiracy.
This is
Oh my
real.
God. Cheers.
This is real.
Randy is so right.
You need to have a drink. You shouldn't have quit
Jackie
drinking.
needs to have a drink.
Guys, 2 more to go. 2 more to go.
'Kay.
Karen says, enjoying the show tonight from Brampton. Hi to Jackie. Hi, Karen. Thank you. And Dan says, good evening. Buy a tent, live on the street, say you are an immigrant, and you'll get a hotel room, debit card, medical care, dental care, and food. Boom. That's the end of the emails right now.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I
I wanted to go back to the carbon tax. Did you know that they are actually back in Parliament? They're going to remove it.
Yeah, so,
it's
well,
at 0 right now.
well,
They're
I
removing
told
it.
you
And do you
that-
know why they're removing it?
Because the people hate it.
Well,
and it's unfair. and
that's
it's
one.
stupid.
It is unfair and stupid. But the real reason why they're removing is because it worked. Look, it cooled down. It's been so cool. So you know what? If it gets hot again, and what they're thinking
No.
is that every summer they bring back the carbon tax to cool the summer down, and then in the winter they can remove
Listen,
it again.
I'm not gonna lie. I've traveled the world. I've been to lots of places, and I know, at least from my perspective, we live in the best place in the world. But not because we have the nicest people, which I'm not really sure we do, if I'm being honest. But we have a lot of nice people. But we have the best topography. We have the most lakes. We have the most, hills. We have the most trees, and we have the best weather. I mean, God, if anybody should be building fences around where they live, it should be us in Ontario. And by the way, for those of you in BC, you can go fuck yourselves. You think you have the nicest place? You don't. You don't. And so
They do
we
have a
are
nice place,
now.
though.
I still love our place better. I take the
They got
lakes
the
over the
mountains.
ocean anytime.
The mountains
Never
are just
mind
gorgeous.
the mountains. If you ski,
and you can see
fine.
them from
Enjoy
anywhere.
the mountains. Ah.
But just
Do
the
you ski?
visual.
Do you ski?
And I used to.
I've been there. I've been to Calgary. I see the mountains.
White Alps.
Mountains. Sorry, we have forests. We have lakes. We have wildlife. We have the best place in the world to live, bar none.
Canada.
Not Canada, Ontario.
Canada.
So if Alberta
I
wants to
think
leave, you go ahead,
No,
because we're going to be
hell
right
no.
behind you.
No.
We're going to be right behind you.
Newfoundland is the best place in
First of
Canada.
all,
Sorry.
I'm married to a Newfie, and I can tell you 100% that they are not the best place in the world.
They might be the best
And if my
people,
wife
though.
doesn't like to hear that, well, she's part of the reason they're not the best place. Just so you know.
They might be the best people, but I did want to say something.
How can they be
interesting.
the best people? They have the worst food, the worst climate, the worst. It's like being
What?
in Ireland, but
Okay.
worse than Ireland.
What I couldn't disagree more.
This is the Nova Scotia whiskey. I'll drink it anyway.
So for me, I spent a lot of time in Lindsay. I grew up in Lindsay.
That's not a great place either. Not a great place in Ontario.
I went to LCVI. Oh no, IE Weldon High School. I was considered a jigaboo, a spook, a baboon. I was everything. So and that was it. And the hard R. I won't say it because I don't want it to get canceled.
now I
on
get to do
YouTube.
the shout out to my boys.
But what it is, we'll do the shout out. We got 2 minutes. But what it was is that it was very prejudicial.
Yes.
And then I came to East York, and then went to school there, and it was equally as bad. As a matter of fact, it may have been even worse because it was real cliques. You had your black cliques, you had your white cliques, and you had your Greek cliques, and you had your Italian cliques, and they didn't mess with each other. Like,
And
I
you
mean,
went to Newfoundland and nobody
See,
cared what
he
you
doesn't
then-
like Jews. He didn't even mention the Jews.
and then I don't remember any in there.
But I'll tell you.
But when I went, as my wife just said, when I went to Newfoundland, nobody cared that I was
No,
black.
because
and
nobody understands what anybody says to each other in Newfoundland.
No.
There's 12 different dialects, and I remember when we were there, my wife and her family, we pulled over to the side of the road to buy some seafood, and she's talking to some guy with no teeth, and next thing you know, they're having this conversation, and somehow she's related to him. And I think, you're related by rum, by nothing more than rum and whatever happened between a bunch of people stuck on a rock with nowhere to go.
You know what? There's going to be a bunch of newfies waiting outside the office.
Let them
You're
come.
back.
Let them come. I loved my father-in-law. He was like my own dad to me. And I only met him 5 years after I'd already been married to my wife. And he became like a dad to me. And I love him to this day. He was a fantastic guy. And he loved me because we both had to put up with his daughter. So we were kindred spirits that way. Are we still on?
We are on air.
Yes.
But
So,
the show's over.
son,
This is it.
son, I'm not lying about any of that. Just so you know.
He's going to kick your butt.
No, he's passed away, unfortunately. But
I said your wife. She's going to kick your butt.
Okay, guys.
she could
I've-
try. I love you all. You need to send emails and say, do it more with Leon. Let's build up an audience because I'm fun to hang around with.
Okay, people. Thank you very much. It's been a blast.
I love my boy.
This is
If
your
you
home.
want an honest real estate agent, just so you know, before we turn off, like I've sat and listened to him talk to his clients. He actually cares. He listens. He puts them and on a couple of occasions, I've dealt with these deals at the very end. And his clients, he goes a long way for them. He's not condescending. He's caring and a great real estate agent. He and his wife, the best.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Leon.
It's
Appreciate
true.
it. This
It's
has
true.
been your home, your money, and our lives on
I've seen it.
realityradio101.com. Bye for now.
If you want to talk booze, I'm here.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money. with your hosts, Brandy and Jackie Rodney, right here on Reality Radio 101.